different quilting things going on this month we're super excited for, and one of them is this, the Patchwork Duffle Bag. I'm not sitting down, I'm standing, and my hands are animated. If you know me IRL, you know that this is more normal for me. I'm just going to change this to live chat. Hopefully some people start joining us. We are sewing the Patchwork Duffle by Knot and Thread. This pattern comes in two sizes, this size and then the mini size. This is the size that is at the store right now, which I think is massive. I'm convinced I could put my kid in it. Faustina said that you could put several kittens. So I'm going to sew the mini version for the sew along, but the instructions are the same. The sizes are just different. You'll need to know what size of things you need to cut. So you'll need a copy of the pattern. We have lots of them in stock. Michelle received them today, so they are there. Week one, we're going to focus on cutting and piecing. So this is the breakdown that we're going to do. We're going to do cutting and piecing this week. We're going to do quilting next week. There's a week break while we're on March break, and that gives you a chance to catch up with the cutting and the piecing, because I found that the cutting and the piecing was the longest part of this task. And once you got the cutting and the piecing done and the quilting, it comes together really quickly after that. And then we'll work on doing the binding and the zipper installation and the strapping, and then finally the final assembly and the binding on the inside. So that's where we're going with the schedule. Don't feel like you need to keep pace with us. You do this at your own schedule. These videos are on YouTube in perpetuity for your reference, and we do keep track of comments and everything. So if you have questions, just let me know. Folks who are watching us tonight, give me a little shout out, say hi, let me know who you are, what you're doing. Oh, we jumped up to 5 there. That's lots. Anyways, so I'm going to start by just talking about some essential tools. You won't necessarily need these all right away. I'm going to turn that off. That's my notification. Someone is downloading something right now. My sound goes off. I always forget to do that. Sorry. I don't like Emily and Caitlin get to work together, and I don't have a second person reminding me to do all these things. Tools that you will find helpful. Starching spray of some sort. I have Flatter. We have Best Press at the store. We have bottomless Best Press. If you are in Ottawa, you can purchase a bottle and fill it up for free for a year. We'll always have unscented and a scent. This, especially with how small these teeny tiny squares are. Look how tiny they are. They're tiny. The edges are going to want to fray, and so this is going to help prevent them from fraying. You will want that. You will find this helpful with any quilting project that you undertake. You can make this bag with either soft or stable or batting. I used batting for the one in the store because it was readily available. I'm using batting for this one as well because, again, readily available. I think for me personally, if I was making the bag to keep, I would want to use soft and stable because it is more rigid. It's a soft foam, and so it will give the bag a better overall shape. That said, now it's beautiful to quilt with. It is just as easy to quilt with as regular quilt batting. There's nothing special that you need to do. We do have that at the store as well. We've got it on a big roll so you can cut just what you need as well. But it comes down to personal preference. So if you're okay with a bag that's a little bit floppy, then stick with just regular batting. If you want something that does have a little bit more structure, you're going to want to go with that soft and stable. You will want quilting needles, especially if you're using soft and stable, because it is just that little bit thicker. Quilting needles have a flattened shape that creates a longer thread loop and makes it easier for the needle to pick up those loops, thus through all the layers, thus avoiding skipped stitches. So you definitely want to pick up some quilting needles, and they also leave smaller, less visible holes. You will need some sort of basting tool. I should have gotten mine down here. You can see all my things. Oh my goodness, and I can't reach it. Oh my goodness. And I just pulled the shelf off the wall. And that's live on YouTube now forever. Oh boy. It just broke clean. Please tell me, please somebody comment and tell me how hilarious this is. Look, it just broke clean off the wall. And hit me in the nose. Nothing is damaged, which is great except for my shelf and the big holes in my wall. We'll have to deal with that afterwards. But I got my basting spray down. You're gonna want this. Pardon me, folks, for a moment while I kind of figure out what's going on here. Oh my goodness. I'm really glad we're not sewing tonight. I'm really glad I'm not sewing tonight. Okay. I don't know where to put this. I'm going to put this over here. Oops. The shelf is still good. The brackets are not. I love that nobody's made a comment. You guys are totally like unfazed by me, anything. This got knocked. I'm going to move it slightly back up. There we go. Oh boy. Oh, and there's my teeth. Sorry. From when I had my mouth guard made. I kept them old because I liked it. It was weird. I'm weird. Basting spray. I prefer basting spray because it is significantly easier to use than pins, and I don't want to have to futz around with pins. So, but again, it's up to you what you're most comfortable with. And then lastly, you are not going to want to not have these. These are tube turners or loop turners. If you are a garment sewist, you might have these in your arsenal. They help to turn a skinny tube the right way around that you've sewn. The strapping on this, you make this giant long casing out of 3 widths of fabric, and it is a pain in the butt to turn around, and it would have been even more of a pain in the butt if I didn't have this thing. So I highly recommend getting these. They're great for all sorts of other like casings, and you can see how bent this one is. I use it to thread elastic all the time. Super helpful. Okay. So those are the tools that you're going to want to acquire before we start. A couple of other things to note. I found when I made my sample that the quilting really shrank the overall fabric. The cutting layout and directions say that they cut it, they make it larger so that you can cut it down. But I found that that wasn't the case. And if you caught Fab Chat on Monday, you'll have seen that I made the comment that it didn't actually catch it because it was too small. The final piece was too small. So for this one, I'm actually going to be sewing some slightly larger strips on the outside because I want to make sure that what I'm piecing is actually going to be big enough. The small version, the blocks, I think, are 3 by 3 inches, and the large one is 3.5 by 3.5. And for this, on the outside blocks, I'm going to actually make them 3 by 3.5 inches so that I know I'll just eventually trim it down into the final sized piece that I need. Be aware if you're working with directional fabric. So you can see in the picture, the final piece loops around this way so that, and I'm going to show you something in a second to help you better visualize, so that the, if you were just going to sew in one direction, everything on the opposite side of this bag would be upside down. So you want to be aware that on that seam in the bottom that you flip you mirror whatever your directional fabric is. And if you're using whole cloth, you can actually cut your whole cloth into 2 pieces and then piece it together so that you get the right side up image, as it were. So that said, what I did was I charted out. I'm using the Firefly line. I had a bunch of small, there's things everywhere now. And please, folks who are watching, ask questions, make comments. If I'm going too fast, if I'm missing something, if you've got questions. So yes, I'm using the Firefly line. This is, I've started to sew. So this is my bottom. You can see, can you see? There's mushrooms right side up and there's owl upside down, because this is going to be my bottom seam. So the bag is eventually going to look like, I can make this work, I promise. Is going to look like this. Like, that's the bottom. So what I did when I was doing the other one, I didn't graph anything out. I found it very difficult. I was trying to patchwork light and dark pieces. It took me forever because I was laying stuff out in like 2 or 3 rows at a time and then coming back and fixing things. And yeah, it was just not great. So what I did this time is I printed out some graph paper. I patched out the entirety of my large piece, and then I put my end pieces and my pockets at either end as well, so I could see where the line is going to be from that drawing. And what I'm doing this time is not just a patchwork. I've got 3 main color groups that I'm working with. I'm working with like blacks and grays, pinks, and then teals. So that's what I've used. And I'm trying to do a gradient between the darks and the lights and the mediums. And then I've lettered them along the side here. So my A pieces are there, then my B's, C's, D's until I get to G's in the middle. And you can maybe see here, I've got 1 line of mids and then 2 lines of lights and a 3rd line. This is the end piece. This is the pocket. And this is what I just pieced. I showed you a second ago is this piece. And I didn't end up coloring it in here, but I know that whatever I've colored here, I have to double down here. So that is how I've started cutting things. I pre-cut some of these mid pieces, and it's helped me actually to plan out because I can count. I know I need 1, 2, 3 pinks, and then repeat that 4, 5, 6, and then of the 3 by 3 inch size, and then I know I need 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of the slightly larger size. So that's really helped me to visualize what I'm doing and to keep track. Let me know if anybody has any questions about this. I am going to demonstrate. I'm going to kick, all my binding fell on the floor. So I am going to demonstrate how I've been cutting, and this is a like, I guess stack and whack is the easiest way of doing it. So I've pre-cut all of my little blue and pink squares. I'm going to bring everybody over here so you can hopefully see my table. So I've got 3 different colors here, or 3 different fabrics of my dark color. I need my ruler. I'm actually going to flip this upside down because it's easier for me to work with it going in this direction. And based on my chart, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I need to 5 different pieces of 3 by 3 fabric. So for those middle pieces, not the larger ones that are on the side. And then I'm going to double that. So I need 10. So I'm going to start by just squaring this up slightly. And then I'm going to cut 3 inches here. Move this a little bit out of the way. I'm going to square up the end. And then I said I needed 10 3-inch squares. So I've got 3. So there's 3. Here's another 3. So that's 6. Another 3. That's 9. And just to give me a variety of choice, I'll just cut 3 more. And then I also need, based on what I've charted out, I need 2 times 2, so 4 3.5-inch pieces for those larger ends. And now the pattern doesn't call for that. The pattern calls for just 3.5-inch squares, with the exception of the end panels. It does call for 3.5-inch pieces on the end panels, and I'm going to do it on the whole thing so I can trim it down. So I'm going to bring this back here. And here we go. Cut another 3-inch swath. I don't need this anymore. You can see there's I've got lots of fabric to work with. In terms of cutting any of the other pieces that need prep, and then I'm going to cut 3.5 here. I am not going to do that because they are likely to get lost in my room. I'd rather just hold on to the bulk of the bulk of what I'm working with, and then I'll cut it when we come to that week. That's my personal way of doing things. And now what I'm going to do to prep sewing these is lay them out in this pattern. So I'll do these. I'm going to do these 2 rows here. So I've got a black, and then a smaller piece of a teal. Can maybe leave this here. I don't know. A teal, and then a pink, and then another teal, and then a pink. Oh, this is not supposed to be a teal. This is supposed to be black. You can see the sort of patchwork pattern I'm working with. And then a teal. And then one more black. Losing my pieces here. And then a black. So there's my first row. And then my second row, I've got a larger piece of pink. No, I want this one. A black. And I'm trying to spread out the prints, but honestly, I'm more concerned about the color layout than I am about the print layout. So what I care is what the colors are going to look like. You can see I've got 3 dragonflies here all together, so I'm actually probably going to do this just to break them up a little bit. Oh, I did the same thing here. And I just said I wasn't going to do that, and I'm doing it. That's okay. Another pink. A teal piece. Black. And then a pink on the end. So you can see that's what my layout's going to be. And eventually where this will sit is here like this. So you can see the gradient that I'm starting to work with. We piece, I'll bring you back up here a second. So when you're piecing, you piece as if you would a quilt with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You are welcome to strip piece or do it in blocks, in chunks, whatever is manageable for you. I've been doing it in little chunks because, again, that's what's manageable for me. And I am not ironing my seams open. I am nesting my seams. You can see on the back, I'm nesting them. It makes a stronger piece overall. And I'm not really concerned about bulk because it's only two seams that are meeting each other. So that's it for next week. Have all of your pieces pieced. And yes, if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. I'll keep track of everything and we'll go from there. Thanks for joining me tonight, everybody.